Uh, Hello. Hi. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second digital marketing session of the digital marketing training provided by EduPristine. All right, then. This was the small case study that we'd have to go through and we're supposed to work on after the last session. I'll just revise you through it. I'll just walk you through it again. So the case study said that you're the head of marketing for edudeal.com, and the task that you've been assigned is to plan and budget the online marketing spends for the next 1 year. And there have been some specific targets given to you, and you've been given the traffic split via different channels. So your organic channel, which is your organic traffic on your website, constitutes of 25% of the total traffic. Direct traffic constitutes 15% of the total traffic. Direct traffic meaning people who directly type in the name of your website and visit your website. Organic is when they search online and click on the organic links, not on the ads. CPC is when they click on the ads after searching on Google or Bing. 20% of the traffic comes from social media, which will be the websites that you know very thoroughly, the Facebooks, Twitter, LinkedIn, and other websites. And the last one being referral, wherein some other websites are referring people to your website. So if they have a link to your website on their website, and if you click on that link, you'd be redirected to edudeal.com. So that constitutes 15% of the total traffic. CPC means cost per click. Okay, so let me just make things clear for you. So whenever you search anything on Google, so if you go to Google and you're looking for Nike shoes, suppose you want to buy shoes today, so you see a list of results on the search engine result page. Now, what you see at the top with the sponsored mark on it and with the ad small tab called ad on it, this is what is called as PPC or CPC, if you can call it that. What happens is these websites start doing ads on particular set of keywords, which again we learn about in detail in the 5th and 6th session. In this session, we'll be covering the basic introduction to digital marketing, where I'll be giving you an overview of all the channels that we have. And then we'll talk about analytics and the importance of analytics, and we'll be talking about how to use Google Analytics. All right. So the search engine links that you see at the top, which say ads, come under CPC or PPC. CPC being cost per click, PPC being pay per click. So which are one and the same thing. Below that, the results that you see are called as organic results. Your websites start ranking here due to one reason. It's because of search engine optimization. If your website has been optimized for the search engines, and if Google thinks that your website will provide the right answer to whatever the user query is, Google will start ranking your website, and that is how you'll start generating organic traffic on your website. All right. So I believe there was some issue with the screen. Can everyone hear me properly? Is my screen clear? Perfect. A small request to everyone who's joined me in the session. I would request all of you to keep asking as many questions as you can. If at any point of time you think that you're not following what I'm trying to say, or if you feel there is an issue with whatever is going on in the session, please don't hesitate to ask any kind of question, because again, the thing that we're learning right now, digital marketing, it has changed the world in a way that it has given the consumer a voice which they can share with the world. And I would not want all of you to learn digital marketing in the traditional way, wherein the content was pushed on your face and you did not have something to let it out. So keep asking as many questions as you can. Don't hesitate in asking any kind of questions. And that'll make the session more interactive and also simultaneously will increase your understanding of the whole session. All right. So the first question that I was asked was, what is CPC and what is organic? Now, whenever you search anything on Google, suppose I search Nike shoes here, what I see is I see some ads at the top. You see the sponsored button, you see this small tab called ad. These are what come under CPC or PPC as you can call it. Websites bid in order to show their website links at the top over here. Now Amazon and Nike have bid on this keyword Nike shoes so that they can rank for these particular keywords because they believe that the people who are searching for Nike shoes are a relevant target audience for them. Okay. Now this will be covered in detail in the 5th and 6th session, wherein you'll learn how to do keyword research, how to do keyword based targeting, how to create ads, how to bid, and do all the processes which are required in order to get your ads up live on Google. The results which you see after the ads are organic search results. Now your website starts ranking organically, starts ranking well organically if your site has been optimized for the search engines. Now this is done using the process called as search engine optimization. Again, you learn about search engine optimization in detail in the 3rd and 4th session, wherein we'll tell you the best practices to make sure that Google recognizes your website and starts ranking it well amongst your competitors. All right, so this is the main difference. So to understand and create the budgeting of your company edudeal.com and find out how much money is required or how much is the spend or how much you will have to spend in order to generate every sale, you need to understand each and every channel and how it works in a different way. Each channel has its own different metrics, and those metrics signify something else. Now, the important metrics is what we're going to learn. We're going to learn about the funnel. We're going to learn about how the whole process of PPC works, how the whole process of social media works, how the whole process of direct traffic works. So let's do that. In case of search, which is organic search we're talking about here, now the process is split into 4 stages. The first being when a user searches for a particular keyword. That part of the process is called as searches. The second part is called impressions. Now, if a user searches for a particular keyword and if your website link is present on that particular page of the search engine, then your number of impressions will increase as well. If the user then clicks on your link, then the number of clicks will increase, and depending on what you have defined as a conversion on your website. A conversion on your website can be anything. For bloggers, the conversion metric is the time spent on the website, because they would want most people to spend a lot of time on their blog so that they understand if whatever they are posting is helpful or not. Second thing, it can be if they want to generate email IDs. A lot of blogs have this subscription model where you can subscribe to their blogs. One of the conversion metrics can be that. For websites like Amazon and Flipkart, the conversion metric would be a sale. So they would define a conversion as the number of sales that have been generated from the clicks that they have received from the impressions that they received. Now let me give you an example here. Say I work for Flipkart.com, all right? Say I work for Flipkart and I search for Nike shoes. Now when I search for Nike shoes, we'll have to see if Flipkart.com is ranking over here or not. So once I search for Nike shoes, the number of searches becomes equal to 1. So let me just break it down well for you. We got searches, impressions, clicks, and conversions. All right. So whenever a person is searching for Nike shoes, and if it is one of my target keywords, as soon as a person searches, the number of searches become equal to 1. If my website is ranking on that page, if my website's link is present on that page, then my impressions will become equal to 1. Now let me see if Flipkart.com is ranking. Yes, you can see Flipkart.com ranking on the page at the bottom. So the number of impressions will become equal to 1. The number of clicks, if I click on Flipkart.com, they'll become equal to 1. If I go to shoecarnival.com, the number of clicks will become equal to 0. And if the number of clicks are 0, the number of conversions automatically become equal to 0. All right. If instead of shoecarnival.com, I visited flipkart.com, then the number of clicks would become equal to 1, and depending on if I buy the product or not, my conversion will remain 0 or 1. Now imagine this happening for thousands of searches taking place for a particular keyword in a day. The number of searches for Nike shoes in a day must be 10,000 to 50,000. Now that's a pretty big number to track. You can't keep doing +1, +1, +1 all the time. All right. So there are tools which help you with that, which we'll learn about in due course of time. Now, apart from this, there are some factors, there are some metrics again which connect these two, these metrics. Now, there's one metric called as click-through rate, which is equal to the number of clicks received divided by the number of impressions received. So if Flipkart.com for Nike shoes receives 100 impressions in a day and receives 5 clicks, the click-through rate becomes equal to 5%. 5 divided by 100, that'll be the click-through rate. We have another metric connecting the clicks and the conversions, which is called as the conversion rate. Conversion rate is equal to conversions divided by the number of clicks received. Now, suppose out of these 5 clicks, we receive 1 conversion. Out of the 5 people who visited my site for the keyword Nike shoes, 1 of them converted. So the conversion will be equal to 1 divided by 5, which is 20%. All right. So there's a question asking what is impression and conversion? Sahib, so like I told you, if my website is ranking for a particular keyword, if that particular keyword is search, Nike shoes, and if my website is ranking on the search engine, then the number of conversions become equal to 1. Okay? You don't see the link of, say, Myntra.com over here. So the number of impressions for Myntra.com on this keyword will be equal to 0. But all the other websites which are ranking for this keyword, the number of impressions for them will become 1. Number of conversions. Conversions are a metric via which you check the number of conversions that are happening on your website. All right. So this is how we do it. Now this is what happens in case of organic traffic. Organic traffic comes from the links which don't have the ad small tag to it. In case of ads, and the traffic that you receive organically is free. Google does not charge you for anything for that. Because Google thinks that your website provides the most relevant answer for this particular query, Google will not charge you for it. But in case of pay-per-click, if you're showing ads for that particular keyword, then another metric comes in between. After clicks, there is something called as cost per click. So for every click that you receive, you will have to pay certain price. And that certain price will be defined by Google. And you'll learn about this in detail when you go through the PPC lectures, which will be the 5th and 6th lectures. So cost per click would be equal to cost, which is the total money spent, divided by the clicks received. Now say these 5 clicks were generated from PPC and the total amount spent was 500. The cost per click in that case would be 500 divided by 5, which is equal to INR 100. So for every click that you have to receive, you will have to pay 100 rupees. All right. So this is how the search funnel and the PPC funnel work. In case of PPC, you have searches, impressions, clicks, and conversions, which are the same. But there is an important metric which comes in between, which is called as cost per click. All right. There is another metric called as cost per acquisition. Now, what is cost per acquisition? Cost per acquisition is something that correlates the number of conversions with the selling price of your particular item. Say you sold the Nike shoes for 2000 rupees. Okay, price of goods. If say the price of good is INR 1000, then your cost per acquisition or CPA becomes so your cost per acquisition becomes equal to the amount of money that you have spent in order to receive one conversion on your website. So for every 5 clicks, you're receiving one conversion, and for 5 clicks, you're spending 500 rupees. So in that case, your cost per acquisition will become 500 divided by 1, which is equal to 500. And another metric that you need to learn about is ROI, which is return on investment. Now, return on investment, as the name says, it finds the amount you are earning for every rupee that you are spending. So that will be equal to the price of the good sold, price of each good sold, that will be 1000, divided by the price that you have to spend in order to generate that conversion, which is 500. So return on investment in this case is 2x, which means that for every rupee that you spend, you will receive 2 rupees. Now that is a decent return on investment. That is a good profit margin. 100% profit margins are good. All right. Any doubts about the metrics that I've talked about till now? Does anyone have any doubt? All right. Would you like me to explain ROI and CPA again? Is that what you're saying? Sure. So cost per acquisition is the amount that you need to spend in order to generate one conversion on your website. Okay. It is the amount that you need to spend in order to generate one conversion on your website. In this case, we have received 5 clicks, received one conversion out of it, and the amount spent for getting those 5 clicks was equal to 500. So my cost per acquisition will be equal to 500 divided by 1, because the amount that I spent was 500 and the number of conversions I received was 1. So the cost per acquisition will be equal to INR 500. So this is the amount of money that I need to spend in order to receive one conversion on my website. One conversion can be anything. One conversion can be one sale on my website. One conversion can be one person giving his email ID on my website. Okay? And the second more important metric is return on investment. The name pretty much clarifies it. It's the return on how much you're investing. So the return on investment will be defined by the revenue that you have generated divided by the amount that you have spent. In this case, the revenue generated was INR 1000 and the amount spent was INR 500. So the return on investment will be equal to 2, which means that for every rupee that I spend, the return that I am going to get is 2 rupees. Rikin is asking, is the price of goods is not the profit on the product, so how come the ROI is 2x? Again, so in this case, we're just trying to make things simple here, Rikin. We're not including the profits because we don't really know what the profit margins are. We're looking at everything from the outside. Okay, profit margins will be can be calculated later. This is just finding out the return on investment. We're just dividing the revenue by the amount spent. After we do this, we'll be able to find out if this process is profitable enough or not. So if the profit margin on this particular product is INR, so for every 1000 rupees sale, the profit margin is 250, then this process is working out pretty well for me. Otherwise, it is not. Is that clear to everyone? Shall I move on? In case of social media, there are two types of visits that you can generate from social media. Again, if you have posted something and people come to your website after clicking on it and convert, that is social that is generating organic traffic from social media. Whereas if you run ads on social media, then the funnel would be similar to PPC. Now, what do you think is the difference between the funnel of search and social? It's a question for everyone. What do you think the difference is between the funnels of social media and search? I've got some good inputs here. I'd request all of you to answer. Okay, so the only difference and probably the biggest difference in case of search and social media is nobody is searching content on social media. The content is pushed to them. In case of search, the user is looking for something. Remember, we had another tab in case of search which said the searches. We don't have that tab in case of social media. Why? Because nobody is searching for anything on social media. You post something and it will receive impressions. So the process starts a little down the funnel. It's not exactly the same. But after that, it is completely the same. It works the same in case of ads as for PPC, and it works the same in case of organic, which is in case of social organic. All right. The email funnel is much different from the search or social funnel. In email funnel, the metrics completely change. The first step is sending emails, number of emails that you're sending. The second most important metric in this case is the number of people who open your email. If you have links in your email, then the third metric would be the number of people who have clicked on your email. And the fourth one would obviously be the number of people who have converted to your website after clicking on your email. All right. Is the email funnel clear to everyone? So in case of email, the metrics change. The metrics in case of email are open rate. So I will list down all the metrics here for you. Emails sent, emails opened, clicks, and conversions. Now say you sent 1000 emails, out of which 100 people opened the email, 15 people clicked on it, and you received 3 conversions. So now there's something called as open rate, which is equal to the number of emails opened divided by the number of emails sent, which in this case will be equal to 100 divided by 1000, which is equal to 10%. Then there is the click-through rate, which will be equal to clicks divided by opens, which will be 15 divided by 100, or 15% in this case. Again, we have the conversion rate, which is equal to number of conversions divided by the number of clicks. It's equal to 3 divided by 15, which is 20%. All right. Is the email funnel clear to everyone? Are there any doubts? All right. So it's really important to understand these funnels. You should not get worried about the numbers here or get scared by seeing these numbers. What I want you to understand is the funnel. Unless you understand the funnel, you will not be able to grasp the whole concept of how a particular channel works. And in order to understand a particular channel, you need to understand the metrics behind it. And this funnel helps you identify the metrics, identify the more important metrics when it comes to each of these channels. Okay. So this was the case study which was given to you. You had to generate 10 million in sales when the average size of average price of a product is 250 rupees. Now, all the rows, all the cells in yellow are the ones that you have to fill, and the numbers in blue have been hard-coded so that you can find the numbers in yellow. The online target in this case becomes the total amount of sales that the total revenue that has to be generated divided by the average size, average price of a product. So we can find out the number of products that we need to sell, which in this case is 40,000. Now in that sheet, we've defined the percentage of sales that have to happen in each month. If you total it, it'll come to 100%. So accordingly, I will divide this 40,000 across different months. So 4% sales out of those 40,000 need to be generated in the month of December 14. And similarly, the numbers will be divided for each month. After you divide the numbers for each month, remember it was told to you that the traffic split has been provided. How much percentage of traffic will come from which source? So you can see search CPC gets us 25% of the traffic, search organic gets us 25% of the traffic, 20% of it comes from social CPC, 15% comes from direct, and 15% comes from referral. So you can define the number of sales that have to be generated from each of these sources. So 25% of 1600, 400. So 400 sales need to be generated from search CPC in the month of December 14. Now if I go down, I can see the funnel of search CPC. So 400 is the number of conversions. Now from the number of conversions, I will try to find out the number of clicks that I need to receive in order to generate 400 conversions. Sure, so there's a question, what is social organic and how does it work? Example please. All right, so I'll show you an example right away. Say you go to facebook.com. Once you go to facebook.com, you'd see a lot of links over here. Let me come across a link. I cannot see anything but memes on my timeline, which is pretty irritating. Suppose this link. So somebody has shared this link and it is from ips.blogspot.in. Now this has been shared by someone. It is not an ad. So if I click on this and go, this is what is called as receiving organic traffic from social media. If there is an ad, suppose there is an ad from Ustra, and if I click on this ad, this is called as social pay-per-click, social media pay-per-click. All right? Is this clear to everyone now? Yes, absolutely right. Ustra ad is paid. So you could see that it's an ad. It said that it was an ad. I will just show it to you again. Suppose this. So whenever you see something like suggested post and you see the sponsored tab over here, it is an ad from Facebook. All right, which is inorganic in nature, which is paid. So for every clicks they receive, every click that they receive, they will have to pay a particular amount. All right. So coming back to our funnel. So we remember, if you remember the conversion rate, the formula, and how conversion rate was found out was dividing the number of click conversions divided by the number of clicks received. Now in this case, we know the conversion rate and the conversions. So we can find out the number of clicks received very easily. So the number of clicks received would be equal to the number of conversions divided by the conversion rate, which is exactly what we'll do here. We know the number of conversions. The conversion rate has been predefined for you. So we make this as conversions divided by the conversion rate. And you can find out the number of clicks you need to receive in order to generate 400 conversions. All right, so there's a question, are blogs only example of inorganic? Now Shashank, it varies from channel to channel, it varies from company to company. If anyone is running ads for their blogs, it will be inorganic or paid in nature. Otherwise, it will be organic. Rikin is asking, in social paper clicks generate some business, but why we go for organic social? What is the percentage? Now, it is important to make sure you go for organic social as well, because not all the companies out there have the kind of money which is needed to run ads on these social media platforms. You can't keep running ads on your social media platforms all the time. If you try doing that, the amount that you'll be investing would be much more than the amount that you can actually the revenue that you'll be generating. Blogs are example of both organic and inorganic. It depends on how you use it. If you push ads via your blogs, if you push it to people via ads, then it will become inorganic or paid. Otherwise, it will be organic. All right. Moving on. So now that you know the number of clicks and you know the cost per click, that the amount that you'll have to pay for every click, you can find out the total cost that you will have to incur. So we define cost per click as the total cost divided by the total number of clicks. Now, if we know the cost and we know the cost per click, sorry, if we know the clicks and we know the cost per click, we can find out the total cost, which will be equal to total number of clicks received multiplied by the cost of each click. And similarly, you can find out the number of impressions, the number of searches needed, and the effective cost per acquisition. The effective cost per acquisition will be equal to the total amount spent divided by the total number of conversions received. All right. So in this case, the cost per acquisition is equal to 2,500, but we are selling the product for 250. So effectively, we are not making any profits. We are just making losses. Now, as a marketing head of the company, you will have to tweak your process in such a way that this return on investment, the effective CPA, comes down to less than 250. All right. Cool. So is this process clear to everyone? Can all of you solve the case study by yourself now? Yuvraj is asking, how do you know the conversion rate? Now, Yuvraj, in this case, we've taken assumptions. All the cells marked in blue are assumptions. All the cells marked in yellow are the ones that you need to fill. We have taken assumptions that the conversion rate is this much. We've taken assumptions that the CTR is this much. We've taken assumption that the cost per click is 25. It's an assumption. Okay. So now we'll actually move to the second session. So Shashank is asking, what about direct affiliate? Now, what do you mean by direct affiliate, Shashank? Gautam is asking, can we run an effective campaign without any CPC or paid services? Absolutely, you can. If there are so many posts and links that go viral on the social media, they are not running ads. They go viral because the content is good. All right. So in case of an affiliate campaign, Shashank, it does not change a lot. In an affiliate campaign, you pay for every click that you receive. And in that case, you put up ads on different websites. You have a direct deal with those websites. You put up ads, you receive clicks on your ads. You pay particular amount for all the clicks that you receive. And accordingly, everything changes. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're trying to say by. Yes, absolutely. You will get an idea about how that works as well. So for everyone, the Excel sheet is available in the learning management system. All of you must have received a login access to the learning management system. The Excel is present there with the solution sheet. So what you can do is you can have a look at the Excel sheet. You can work on it, and then you can check your answers from the solution sheet as well. All right. So is it clear to everyone? Okay, moving on. So with the emergence of digital marketing, and with so much data available around the web, it becomes really important for us as digital marketers to understand these metrics and drive value out of it. It is really important to find out what is working and what is not. Unless you know what is working and what is not, you will never be able to optimize your process in a way that it starts performing better for you. That is where analytics comes into picture. You need to make sure that you make your data work for the business. You will have a lot of data, trust me about that. And when you have a lot of data, sometimes it can be overwhelming to see the amount of data that we have. And sometimes people get baffled by it and start panicking. Instead of understanding the data, what they start doing is they start neglecting it because it's a tedious task. It is not a tedious task, and it is something that you should do very frequently so that you can understand the reason behind whatever is happening with your, say, posts on Facebook, your ads on Facebook, your ads on search engines, or your emails. You need to analyze everything in order to come to a conclusion if that process is working or not. So the learning outcomes of this analytic session would be to define the goals of your property, define the goals of whatever you're working on. Then after defining the goals, drill down to find the metrics which will help you reach those goals. So if your goal is to generate as many sales as you can, then to get those conversions, you will have to trickle down and find out what are those things which bring the conversions. You'll have to monitor the number of clicks. You'll have to monitor the number of impressions that you've received. You'll have to monitor the number of searches. You learn how to all these goals in Google Analytics, and you will also try to use Google Analytics for understanding consumer behavior. All right. KPIs here mean key performance indicators. KPIs mean key performance indicators. Now, the key to scale your traffic or scale the conversions on your website is to measure what you're doing, to monitor what you're doing, to bring inferences, to get inferences from what you're doing, and then scale it accordingly. If you think a particular process is working, you start scaling it. If you think a particular process is not working, you stop the process and start working on something else, or tweak the process in a way that it starts working better for you. So what exactly is digital analytics? Now, digital analytics is the analysis of qualitative and quantitative data from your business and competition to drive a continual improvement of the online experience that your customers and potential customers have, which translate to your desired outcomes, both online and offline. And here desired outcomes would be the goals. Now there's a lot of data, again, a lot of things to look into when it comes to this decision, this definition. The more important pointers here are the analysis of qualitative and quantitative data from your business and competition to drive a continual improvement of the online experience that your customers and potential customers have, which translates into desired outcomes. Okay, so you need to understand each of these terms and the importance of each of these terms in this definition. All right, so we analyze the data that we receive from whatever we have done, and we try to get inferences which brings us to conclusions and helps us in driving improvement of the online experience of our marketing strategies, which will bring more customers to your website. Is this clear? So what we'll do now is we'll take a small 5-minute break, and after the break we'll start talking about measurement of data. So you can just try to rewind whatever we've learned till now, and we'll be back in 5 minutes and start working on it again. So the problems faced by us marketers when dealing with data is that the first most important point, that the first biggest issue that we face is we don't know what to measure. Okay, we don't know what to measure. So the definition of your goals is really important when it comes to analytics. You need to identify what are the metrics that you need to measure, and then you need to classify that data into different segments. Once you classify that data into different segments, you'll be able to understand everything in a much better way. So say you want to learn about the traffic that is coming on your website. So you would want to divide it into 3 segments. The 3 bigger segments in that case would be: how are people coming to my website? Like, how are they landing on my website? Which sources are they coming from? The second would be, what are they doing on my website? All right. So after they come to your site, what are they doing on your website? How many pages are they visiting? How many products are they looking into? All right. So that would be the second bucket. And the third bucket would be which tells you about the people who are visiting your site. So demographics about the people who are visiting your website. So is most of the traffic on your site dominated by females? Do you have more female traffic, male traffic? What is the age of people coming to your site? What are the locations? All those. So you can divide your traffic into 3 different buckets. All right. And after doing all this, you have to maintain sanity as well, because you have so much data. It becomes really difficult to handle. So you need to clean the data every now and then so that you can get a clear view of it. Or we go the hippo way. Now hippo way is a slang which is used for highest income paid person's opinion. So because we ourselves don't understand analytics that well, because we tend to just work on the marketing strategies and don't really look into analytics, whatever your boss says or whatever the person who's earning the most says, we follow that blindly, which should not be the case. You should be able to define the metrics that you have to measure by your own and bring inferences from it. All right. Now say I have uploaded this video on YouTube. All right. What are the metrics do you think I need to measure to determine if this video was successful or not? What are the metrics do you think I need to measure in order to determine if this video was successful or not? That's great. That's great. I've got some inputs. All right. All right. Some great inputs from everyone. And I guess you've covered all of them as well. So we try to monitor the number of views, which is the most basic thing that can define how good your video is. You can have a look at the number of likes a particular video has received. You can find out the number of times it has been shared. That's another important metric. You can find out the number of comments that you've received, the kind of comments you've received as well. You can also find out the time that a user spends on your video. What is the average time a user spends on your video? If it's a 10-minute video and you have a lot of views, but the average view time is 40 seconds, then there is something wrong with your video. We can check the number of subscriptions, the number of subscribers that we have. What YouTube also has is it has something called as annotations. So whenever watching a video, you would see some boxes on the right hand side or left hand side which come sliding in. Now those are called as annotations. People can click on that and visit a website or maybe visit another video. So that can be counted as the number of conversions, number of people who visit your other videos, or number of people who visit your site. That can be counted as conversions. All right. Now, as you can see, these are a lot of metrics. These are a lot of metrics, and it's very difficult to track all these metrics all at once. So you need to make sure you categorize each one of them in a way that it's easier for you to look at and easier for you to infer anything from. Sure, I'd explain annotations again. So on YouTube, whenever you go to a video, you'd see those annotations, small boxes. If you're watching a video, you'd see some small boxes. Please like this video, or visit our website to know more. Those kind of boxes you will see. Now, if a person clicks on that box, that can be counted as a conversion if you want to. Or if a person clicks on that box and registers on your website, that can be counted as a conversion. All right. So yes, you have these videos, and this is all right. It'll be easy to look at this data if you just have one video. Now imagine having 500 videos. If you have 500 videos and this much data, you need to have a process to infer or to identify the problems, to identify what is working, what is not, in a completely different way. So that is why you need to set up a process when it comes to analytics. So an interesting question from Shashank: what is the exact definition of conversions in terms of videos when there's nothing to buy? Now Shashank, in case of videos, and in case of everything for that matter, the conversion varies from a particular company to company. It depends on how you define a conversion. It depends on what is the most important metric for you. If a YouTube channel does not have a website, they would count a conversion if somebody sees an ad in between their video. Because if somebody sees an ad, they would earn some money. That would be a conversion for them. Okay. For some, the intention of the video is educating the people so that they visit their website. In that case, the conversion could be either a visit on the website or someone coming and purchasing something from your website. Okay. Visiting your website, subscribing to your blog, subscribing to your newsletter, that can be a conversion as well. Okay. So the conversion will depend on the kind of business that you're running. It will not be the same. Don't put this in your thought in your head that conversions equal to sales. Conversions will vary from industry to industry. In fact, it will vary from company to company. All right. Depending on what your goals are, your conversions will also change. Srilata is asking, there are also ads that appear before we watch the video. Do they form part of the video? So they're not exactly a part of the video, but they are what help the video team or probably the channel earn money out of YouTube. All right. Shashank is asking, there are two parties here, one who uploads the video and one is YouTube. So watching ads will be a conversion for whom? So watching ads will be a conversion for both of them. Okay. The advertiser lists an ad. YouTube shows that ad on the video of the person who's uploaded it. So the money that they get from advertisers is split between YouTube and the channel who uploaded that video. All right. What would you like? So is this process clear? If you cannot understand anything, please be specific about which part you did not understand. Something as broad as explain it again would be a little difficult, because again, if I know the exact thing, it'll be much easier for you to understand and much easier for me to explain as well. If there are any doubts, please be as specific as you can. So Shashank is asking, how do you decide on which video to put ad? Now, Shashank, this whole process of YouTube ads will be covered in the social media marketing section. All right. We need not go into the nitty-gritties of it right now. We need to discuss more about analytics, and video advertising will be discussed in due course of time in the social media marketing session. All right. Any more doubts? Again, so what do you keep measuring? What do you have to monitor? You need to define all that. You need to define the important metrics in your case. You need to define what matters to you and what does not. You need to define what is the data that is important to you. You need to define what is the data which is not. So let's understand the importance of correct data. Correct data can help you identify who is your audience. Okay. Sometimes what happens is, when you're running ads on different channels, you start targeting people and they start coming to your website. And you're wondering why the people coming to your website are not converting. Why the people coming to your website are not buying your products. So when you find out who the audience coming to your site is, you might be able to find out why your ads are not converting. Say you're trying to sell trekking gear for different treks. Now your audience would be people between the age of say 20 to 35, people between the age of 20 to 35. Now when you measure the data on your website, you find out that most of the people who are coming to your site are between the age of 30 to 50. So that will tell you that whatever your marketing activities are, they are reaching a target audience which is not really relevant to your product. Rikin is asking, what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is just another term that we use to define what kind of data we need to measure. You don't need to worry about it a lot, not something that needs to be focused on. So Sushil is asking, how do we identify the age slab? Now Sushil, are you asking how do we identify the age slab of our target audience, or how do we measure the age slab or age slab of the people who are coming to my site? Which is the age slab that you're talking about here? How do we measure? All right. So Google Analytics provides you the data of people who are coming to your website. Okay. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to tell you about the metrics which are important. In due course of time in this session, when we start learning about Google Analytics, I will tell you how to measure that. Right now we are trying to learn what to measure. In due course of time, we'll learn how to measure it. Is that all right? Perfect. After identifying who your audience is, you can also find out where your target audience is. Say you have an online store which delivers only to the metropolitan cities, and the traffic coming to your site is not exactly from the metropolitan cities, but it's coming from tier 2 cities. Now you cannot understand why people coming to your site are not converting, but the reason behind it is people are coming to your site, they're trying to buy the product, but because you don't deliver to tier 2 cities, they are not converting and bouncing off your website. So you need to find out where your audience is and start targeting them in the best possible way. The third point being, how will they find you online? What are the sources they are visiting me from? Are they visiting my site via social media? Are they visiting my site via Google? Are they visiting my site via Twitter or LinkedIn? How are they visiting my site? And then you can find out how people from each of these sources are converting on my website. Suppose 5 out of 100 people coming from Facebook are converting. 10 out of 100 people coming from Twitter are converting, and 15 out of 100 people coming from Google are converting. So I can automatically infer that people coming from Google are much more targeted and much more valuable to my business than anything else. So I will start focusing more on Google than Facebook. All right. These are the kind of things that you can infer from the data. All right. Is it clear? Data can address concerns like, do they like me? By like, we don't mean Facebook likes. By like, we mean, are they spending enough time on my website? Are they visiting enough number of pages on my website? If they are, then they like me. If they are not visiting enough number of pages, if they are not coming back to my site again and again, they don't like me. If they're coming back to my site again and again, they do. Are they a valuable customer? Again, like I told you, you can identify how valuable a customer is depending on how many times or how many times they convert on your website. How many of the people visiting your site convert? How many of the people visiting from a particular source on your site convert? This is the kind of data that you can receive. This is the kind of data that you can analyze, and this is the kind of data that you can work upon. Data can address concerns such as how do I stack up against competition? How is my competition doing? Now, it's very difficult to get competitor data in any case, but it depends on how do I work against the competition, how do I work to beat the competition. Data can help address concerns like that. Now, after you get this data and you start analyzing, you will find out that some things are working and some things are not. Now, these kind of inferences will help you plan your future marketing activities and will help you strategize your marketing activities for the future. All right. Any doubts about whatever we've learned till now? Any questions? Perfect. So analytics is really exciting. Analytics is one of my favorite topics to actually work on. And when you have a look at so much data, when you have a look at the kind of people who are coming to your website, the age, what are they doing on the website, how many pages they are visiting, if they are converting or not, what is it that I can do to improve the user experience on my website, tweaking something on your website and monitoring the changes that that particular change has brought can really do wonders. I'd give you a small example. Now, I think all of you here have used taxi services which we have, the Olas and Ubers, right? Most of you must have used either Ola or Uber to travel in whichever city you live. Now, initially, Ola what used to happen was, whenever a person called for a cab and the cab reached a little late, that person used to get pissed that the cab has come late, and because of that, the rating, the review was going down. Okay. Now, what they started doing was they tweaked a small thing. So whenever they found out that the cab has reached a little late as compared to the expected time of arrival, they sent a small message. You must have received that message as well. It was a small message which said that your Ola cab has arrived. We apologize for the delay, but we will make up for it by giving you an awesome ride. That is all that they say. Now, once you read that, you cool down a little, your temper decreases a little. Now, by doing this small change, what they can do is they can monitor and compare the number of people who gave bad reviews when their taxi came late after this message was deployed versus the number of people who gave bad reviews when their taxi came late earlier. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that they found out that after they started sending the message, the number of people who gave bad reviews decreased. Now, these kind of small changes can have a big effect on your business. You might not think it that way, but once you start analyzing, once you get to the nitty-gritties of these metrics, that is when you will start understanding the importance of analytics. All right? Is it clear? Did you guys follow what I said? Are there any questions? Guys, I need everyone to be active here. I don't want you to just listen to what I am saying. I need inputs. That is how this session will become interactive. That is how your learning will improve. All right. Ask as many questions as you have. Raise as many doubts as you want to. So, the web analytics process, it's a cycle. It's always a cycle in case of analytics. Okay. So in case of web analytics, the first process that you do is you define your goals. All right. You define a goal. Your goal can be anything. My goal can be number of people who are purchasing a product on my website. My goal can be number of people who are subscribing to my newsletter. My goal can be the number of people who are visiting more than 5 pages on my website. It can be anything. After I have identified the goal of my business, I need to build the key performance indicators, which are the KPIs around that goal. Now, how will you measure the number of people who have converted on your website? So you'll have to find out the number of people who have come to your site and converted. So the number of conversions would be one thing. Second thing would be to find out how many people visited your website. Third would be dividing those people depending on the channel that they came from. Fourth would be to identify the conversion percentage of each of those channels. Okay. So once you identify the conversion percentage from each of those channels, you'd be able to come to a conclusion. Now, once you identify the key performance indicators, once you know what you need to measure, okay, then that I need to measure the number of conversions from a particular source. I need to measure the number of clicks from a particular source. That is when you start collecting the data from different platforms. So we'll be learning about Google Analytics here. So I'll tell you how to use Google Analytics to collect the data. And after collection of that data, you analyze the data. You analyze the data, you see, and you compare it to how your particular channels have performed in last month as compared to the month before that. Has your performance improved? Has your performance been worse? If improved, why? Why it has improved? Is there something that you changed this month which has brought that change? All right. Is it something that you did last month which has hampered the growth? Something that you did last month has decreased the number of visits that you were getting. Suppose you changed the ad copy, you changed the image that comes with the ad, or you changed the text on that ad. So lesser number of people started clicking. So you analyze and get inferences. And once you get that, you start testing alternatives. If you think that something is not working out, you create something parallel to that. And you test both of them simultaneously. You run two sets of ad copies, or you change the old ad copy and put in a new one. And then you measure the data for that particular ad copy for a month and compare it to the older one. So after implementing it, you'd again find out how it is working out by defining your goals, KPIs, collecting the data, and the whole process goes on again and again. All right, so Ravendra is asking me to building KPIs again. Yeah, so I'll try to explain this with the help of an example here. Say, I run an e-commerce company. Okay, say I run an e-commerce company, whose main goal is to sell as much data, as many products as possible. So my goal is to sell as many products as possible. Okay. Now I will have to build the KPIs around it. So I will write this down for you. So my goal is selling products. Now you will have to build KPIs around it. Now your KPIs would be, say, number of conversions that happen on your website, number of people who visit your website, so the traffic on your website. Then the traffic can be split into different sources. So the sources can be Facebook, Google, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So you define the traffic from these sources, and then you find correspondingly the conversions that are happening. Now you can have different metrics in these sources. So you can measure the number of visits, time spent on site. You can measure the number of people who put the products in their cart but did not convert. All right. So Srilata is asking, what would be the duration of the goal set, as in weekly or monthly, or is it based on festivals or special occasions? Srilata, now your goals should be set. In fact, the goals should be measured every day, but analyzing and having a look at your data depends on how much data you have, and depends on how your company works. Some companies would want you to collect and analyze data every day. Some companies would want you to check the data every month, because it might be a stable company. All right. So it will vary from industry to industry and company to company. Okay. So is everything clear? Is the whole process, the web analytics process, clear to everyone? Are there any doubts? So Ravindra is asking, what are the parameters of data collection? I'm not, I'm sure, I'm sorry, but I don't understand what you exactly mean by parameters of the data collection. Could you please explain it in detail? All right. So, how do we get the data? Again, Ravindra, we'll discuss about how do we get the data in due course of time. Like I told you, right now we're trying to understand what is it that we need to measure, and in due course of time, we'll learn about how will we measure it. We'll be using Google Analytics, and I'll be walking you through the process of using Google Analytics shortly. Okay, so moving on. The continual improvement process, it is very important to keep improving your process continuously, because if you don't do that, either your competitor will, and if your competitor is, you will end up losing out on a lot of customers. Okay, so you need to continuously keep on improving your process, tweaking your process, so that there's something new, and testing is something that is really important when it comes to digital marketing. And because we can change anything or at the click of a button, and which is present on the tip of our finger, A/B testing, alpha beta testing is really important. And the more you test, the more you will learn. To tell you a basic example, on Facebook, say on Facebook, uh, the most basic thing that maybe you can test is how does a background color work. So say you have orange background in your ad copy, and in other one you have blue. You target the same type of people, and you would see that one of your ad copies is performing better than the other one. You can test something as small as the color of your ad copy to something as big as where do we keep the buy button on our page. Okay, everything can be tested, and there are so many things that can be tested, and like I said before, it can get overwhelming at times. So unless you structure everything accordingly, unless you structure your process, your working, the way you work with data accordingly, you will not be able to do it. So the whole process starts with measurement. How many people are completing the customer journey, and where along the journey are you losing or retaining customers? Now this is really important. Are most of the people leaving your website from the payment page? Are most of the people leaving your website from the product page? Are most of the people leaving your website from the page where they have to enter their details? Why? Now you need to brainstorm around that. Now suppose a lot of people are leaving my website from the page where they have to enter their details. Name, email ID, phone number, address, blah, blah, hundreds of things. Now, if a lot of people are doing that, I will start wondering why are they leaving my site from this page, and how can I change it? Now, can I get some suggestions from all of you guys on what can be the reason behind them leaving the website from the page where they have to fill in their details, and how can we improve on it? They're trying to purchase a product, they've reached the cart page, they just have to enter their details and then pay. But they leave from the page where they have to enter their details. Perfect. I am getting some pretty interesting answers here. So the reason can be people are asking for a lot of data. That website is asking for a lot of data, a lot of personal data. Second can be they don't have many options for paying. Cash on delivery is not available. Too many irrelevant questions, may consider only specific questions. Absolutely right. Page loading time, great input, Srilata. Page loading time matters a lot. There are too many instructions. The page user experience is not good enough. They have too many details to fill. There might be a reason that they don't trust to buy online. Absolutely right. So now I was talking to this friend of mine who works for a company. They have a 12-step checkout process. Now, a 12-step checkout process is really bad. And then he was asking me that a lot of people come to their site and exit. The only reason I found here was that if they can reduce the 12-step checkout process to maybe a 2 to 3-step checkout process, the users will start liking it more and it will become much easier for everyone to buy the product. All right. So make sure these kind of things really help. These are the small inferences you can bring from the data that you have. All right. Next, we need to do reporting to package the data in a readable format and then get information out to the decision makers so that they can be empowered with the information they need to make business decisions on. This often happens by developing and distributing pre-made reports or dashboards, which is what we learn on Google Analytics. Once we have the data, we start doing the analysis. The analysis can be as simple as identifying larger trends, but can be complex, including deep segmentation of your data. Segmentation of data would mean splitting the data, or doing competitive analysis comparison based on industry benchmarks. So whichever industry you're working for, there must be some industry benchmarks which your seniors might know. You can ask them for those industry benchmarks and then see if you are performing as well as industry benchmarks or not. Once you get that data, once you analyze the data, this is when the testing begins. Once the testing has begun, this is where you try different solutions and measure the results. Which kind of testing is generating what kind of results? All right. So let's dive deeper into each of these pointers that we just learned about. What are your goals? So your goals, ask yourself these questions if you want to identify the goals. Why is this website made? What is the use of this website? What do we want our customers to do after they come on our site? What is your sales process like? And what is the priority in case you have multiple goals? You need to prioritize your goals as well in case you have multiple goals. All right. Good KPIs should be simple, relevant, periodic, and actionable. Okay. So have you guys been divided into different groups? In the last session, were you divided into different groups? All right. Okay. Were you told about the different websites that we have? The Chale Chalo, Akriti Jewel, Seven Seas Tours, Baheti and Sons? All right, all right. So for now, what we'll do is we'll take up one of the websites as our case study and let's all of us work on that. We'll work on splitting you into groups later on. Let's try to work on Seven Seas Tours. Now, have a look at Seven Seas Tours and what Seven Seas Tours is. Now, Seven Seas Tours handles travel packages for families to visit and tour different countries. Their Europe tour package is a rage, and now they're looking at launching new tours in Australia and New Zealand. The target demographic is retired couples who now want to tour the world for their standard package ranges, and well-to-do professionals who want to find unique experiences for their customized tours. What is immediately required is the budgeting and planning. That is not something that we need right now. So once you understand what 7C stores is, let's try to define the goals and KPIs. Okay, so define two goals that 7C stores might have, and corresponding to both the goals, define two KPIs. Okay, define two goals, and corresponding to each of those two goals, define two KPIs. So give it some time, think about it for a couple of minutes and try to find the answers. I need inputs from everyone who is attending the session. It is all right to be wrong. It is okay to be wrong. Please try to answer the question. Yes, sure. I'll repeat the question again. 7C stores. I will show you what 7C stores is. For this company, you need to define two goals that this website or this company would have. And corresponding to each of those goals, you need to define two KPIs. Define two key performance indicators for each of those two goals. All right, so I've got some good inputs here. Okay, so one of the goals that has been defined is when people search for tours, they should get the link of website on top in Google. That's a really good goal. And more people should fill inquiry forms there when they come to the website. That's a good goal again. Now the KPIs corresponding to them would be from where are they coming and conversion rate from each source. That sounds pretty perfect. And the other goal would be how many people fill the inquiry form. Those are some good inputs, Rikin. Srilata says that the goals can be increasing the number of people availing their packages and increasing credibility for their brand. All right. So KPIs can be places preferred by these age groups and holiday time preferences. Are not exactly, Srilata. So in that case, for the first goal, increasing the number of people availing their packages, that is the goal. The KPIs in that case would be different. All right. In case of your second goal, which is increasing credibility of your brand, the KPIs would be to find out the number of people who are reviewing your product and find out the number of people who are rating your product more than 4 or 5. Great. So I believe everyone has understood the crux of what goals are and what KPIs are. I think you'll get a better understanding of what KPIs are when we start learning about Google Analytics, because then you'll be able to name whatever KPI you're talking about in a much better way. All right. Collecting the data. Once you've defined the KPIs, you need to collect the right type of data, the right data. Are we collecting the right data? Is the data correct? And are we collecting all the data that we need? So it's not that big a problem nowadays because of the sophisticated tools that we have on the web. All right, there's another answer which says goal can be to sell package to spread awareness of packages. That goal is correct. The goals can be the number of conversions that you have to receive and how popular your brand is. And KPIs are from where they're coming from and how long they are spending. Selling packages, for selling packages, those will not be the exact KPIs. The KPIs in case of selling packages would be the number of conversions and which source is generating what conversions. All right. So everybody is on the right track, just that we need to understand things much better so that you'll be able to structure your thoughts in a better way. Yes, because of the sophisticated tools that we have on the web nowadays, it is very easy to collect the data. and mostly you don't receive wrong data. Most of the data that you collect is correct. Once you get the data, it's what you infer from it, what is what matters. There is so much data when it comes to Google Analytics or any kind of analysis that it can get overwhelming at times to see so many numbers and so many metrics. That is why it is really important to define the KPIs and work around that. The more you work around the KPIs, the better your output will be, the better your performance will be, the better you'll be able to measure better things as well. Keep testing the alternatives. As soon as you analyze the data, you start addressing the different concerns and keep testing the alternatives. Like I told you, you can test with the colors, you can test with the text and everything. But one very important thing when it comes to testing is never change more than one parameter when you're testing anything. Okay, suppose you have two creatives. Okay, you have two images on which you're doing ads on Facebook. All right, now if you want to test between them, just change one thing. If you change the color as well as the text, you will not be able to compare between them, and you will not be able to infer what actually brought that change. So either keep the text change same and change the color, or keep the color same and check the text. If you change more than one thing and try to test it, you will not be able to attribute the change which has come, or the change which has come in your data, to a certain parameter. Is everyone following me here? Did you understand this? Is there any confusion or any doubts? But I will repeat it again. Sure, I was just giving you an example about that. So testing alternatives is important. Okay, testing alternatives is really important. Now, suppose I am running an ad for Nike shoes again. Okay, Nike shoes ad. And if I want to do A/B testing, I have two parameters. One, the color of my image, and two, text on the image. Now if I have my first image is red and has the text buy Nike sports shoes at discounted price. And the second one is blue, which says exclusive edition of Nike shoes at discounted price. Now, when I run these two ads, and if I find out that B is performing better than A, that B is generating more clicks than A, now what do I attribute it to? Do I attribute it to the color of the ad, or do I attribute it to the word exclusive used in that particular ad? Because I have changed two things, it will be difficult to attribute it to a particular thing. But if my ad copy in case of the red ad is exclusive, is the same as the blue one, if it is the same, then I'd be able to attribute the increase in the number of likes to color. So from next time onwards, I will create my ads in blue background instead of red. Maybe people connect more with the color blue than the color red. Okay. A/B testing is alpha beta testing, wherein you test one thing for by tweaking something or the other. So in this case, I'm changing the color. In some other case, I might change the text. Okay. Is testing alternatives as a process clear to you? Not exactly interface testing, Shashank, but testing whatever process you're doing. Yes, absolutely, Jagdish. There are different testing methods. You can test various types of things when it comes to any kinds of ads. Okay, so let me show you an example. Let's go back to Facebook. Let me show you an ad. All right. So if you see this ad by Career Launcher, Shashank, you can't really test on you can't test a lot on the e-commerce websites. Again, you can test, but the parameters would be different. Right now I'm talking about ads, so the parameters would be different. All right, I'll show it to you about some e-commerce websites as well. So suppose this is an ad. Now, what are the things you think can be tested? Oh, great example here from Srilata. She's saying that I remember a case when we had to change subject lines for a brand at least 10 times and reposition a word to get the desired clicks. That's a beautiful example, and that is how you do testing in email marketing. You change the email, you change the subject line, and the metrics that get affected by the subject line is the open rate. So for different subject lines, you will receive different open rates. As soon as you see that, whichever subject line provides you a better open rate, it's better. Shashank, ads on social media or on Google. Again, ads on Google, you can do A/B testing here as well. You can see two different ad copies. There's an Amazon ad copy, there is a Nike ad copy. Amazon, for a while, they can think that maybe the Nike ad copy is doing well. They can create an ad copy like Nike's and run it parallelly to this ad. And they can then see which ad is performing better. Okay, so see this Career Launcher ad and give me inputs on what can be changed in this ad. What is it that you can change in this ad and do testing around? Yes, Uma Maheshwar is saying that you can change a picture, you can have a shorter caption. Correct, Shashank. Jagdish is saying the top text, subject line below the photo itself. Absolutely right. The background color of the picture, that's good again. The headline can be changed to something like find the right B school and free waivers. That's a good input. Now see, there are so many parameters. There are so many things. So within 2 minutes, we got so many things we can test on. All right. I can see an error in this as well. It says attend MBA tour to find the right B school. It's not B school. They have an error as well. The image is not visually appealing. Yuvraj is saying that saving 2.5 lakhs can be highlighted. Absolutely right. It should be highlighted more. Maybe this 2.5 lakhs should be present over here. Maybe the 2.25 lakhs which is mentioned here should be mentioned here. Because everybody knows how price sensitive the Indian market is. So if you mention it there, that could increase the number of likes, increase the number of clicks that you get. Yes, Vibhu, that is some other way of looking at it as well. They might be using exclamation instead of L, yes, but overall it sounds wrong. It just looks a little wrong. All right, so many things can be changed. You can create multiple ad copies and check them at the same time. Similarly, yes, absolutely right, Uma Maheshwar, and students will get attracted to the price point. Similarly, in the ads that you have here on Google, or maybe the title and description you have here, you can change a lot of things. Now, Jabong's title and description is perfect. It says cash on delivery, 15 days return, free shipping. All that you need to know about the product is here. Everything is here. Whereas if you read somebody else's, Amazon says every day running to hardcore training, trendy sneakers and casual flip-flops. They have the required things, but it's not as attractive as what it is with Jabong. What we are more worried about is the return policy, the shipping policy, the cash on deliveries, and everything. So you can try and test around it and see what kind of results it is generating. Implement. Now this is the most important and sometimes the most difficult part of it as well. You find something out, you find some irregularities in the data, you find a way by which you can better the performance of your marketing strategies. But you need to get it across and you need to implement it as well. Unless you start implementing and start measuring it again, you will never be able to find out how much better it can do. All right. So make sure you implement whatever your findings are and make changes and then see the results accordingly. All right, so this is just an audience profile of the different websites that we have. Chale Chalo, the goals. So the goal in case of Chale Chalo is email subscription to the newsletter. In their case, the goal is not really getting sales on site. Their KPIs would be the number of signups that they received, the amount of time people spend on their site, the number of pages they visit on their site. For iEduTech, again, it's targeting technology professionals. Their goal is to get more number of inquiry form submissions. So their KPIs would be number of people who submit the form and the percentage of people who come to the site and submit the form. That is an important KPI. 7C stores is something that we've checked already. Another goal, instead of the inquiries, can be the number of sales as well. And correspondingly, we can have different KPIs. This PPT is available on the learning management system. You must have received the login details. So you can log in and find the presentation there and revise it whenever you feel like. Similarly for Akriti Jewels, they're targeting working professionals. Their goal are inquiries and KPIs would vary accordingly. All right. So now that we understand what to measure, we'll start diving deeper into how to measure it. All right. We'll start learning about analytics tools and we'll start working on it simultaneously. Before starting that, I'd just like you to give everything we've learned 10 minutes. Give it a thought, try to revise whatever we have learned. Think about if you have any doubts or not. And we'll start this process again. We'll take a small break and we'll come back in 10 minutes.